great to see you. The last time I saw you, red carpet, SoCan Awards, you were being honored. Your music was being honored. In this time in your career, man, how does it feel that every time I see you, you're being honored with something, man? People just love your music, love your career, and what you've done for Canadian music.
Well, thanks, Rudy. I really appreciate it. It's pretty humbling, and that's what it's like. I think it's it's been a long road. It doesn't seem that long. You people say, well, you must have had a master plan. I said, well, I'll just put one foot ahead of the other and keep moving and keep documenting experiences and writing about them and hopefully touching people with those songs and experiences. And then these things happen where they, oh shoot, okay, I guess it's been a while, and Hall of Fame, that's pretty cool, and this and that, and this SoCan honor. It's pretty humbling, and it's kind of strange to be thought of as one of the elder statesmen of the scene. Actually, one of the eldest of elder statesmen now, because some of my contemporaries who I greatly respect and were huge inspirations, i.e., my friend Gordon Lightfoot and of course Leonard Cohen as well. So, and Robbie Robertson of late. When I was a kid, I was a huge band fan. I remember friends of mine in the band, we used to dress like them, and we'd have hunting boots on, and we'd have black shirts with those bluegrass ties and all that stuff. But yeah, it's been a remarkable journey, and I feel very blessed and privileged to keep doing it. And I look at my fans as friends. Without them, they breathe life into these songs. So these songs don't exist without you guys out there. And so I try to always keep that in mind.
Well, brother, the thing for me is I always think about being in college and first getting into, I went to Humber College, and
so did I, by the way.
What's that?
So did I, by the way. Very few people know that. So my first record, I was right in the middle of making my first record. As a matter of fact, I saw a movie last night. It was a movie. It was, oh boy, it was Christian Bale in it, and Jennifer Lawrence. And they were talking about Duke Ellington. Well, Duke Ellington came that first year. I was involved in the first year of the music course, which is a very highly esteemed course. And I don't mean to hijack what you're going to say about Humber.
No,
I went
please.
to Humber for the first year and a half. I dropped out after a year and a half, and I learned how to notate music, and I started doing that for publishers, for Blackwood Music. And now, of course, it's all done by computer. But at any rate, Humber was a tremendously educational experience for me, and some of the musicians there were fantastic musicians. My old friend Dave Cooper, who passed away a few years ago, was in the course, and John C. Smith, and some really remarkable Toronto musicians, some of which had worked with Dylan and a bunch of other people. And it was I'm going back to educate them, kind of upgrade things, and it's a really well-respected course now. Anyway, so I just thought I'd throw that in there, that I did go to Humber for better part of a year and a half, the first 2 years the course opened, the music course.
I love that, man. Humber alumnus. I love that. And it's funny. I was actually a couple of months ago, they had a big music program. I was at that. The musicians are just great. But what I wanted to add to that is, for me, in the radio broadcasting program, getting in, playing music on the radio, in the Humber radio, and playing your music, and never thinking that I would have this kind of relationship with you, that after all these decades, and I can say decades, that we can be so comfortable in being able to sit and have a conversation. For me, that's a massive honor, because to talk to you and everybody you've already mentioned who I've had a chance to speak with and have relationships with, it's an honor. And what is even more important, you're still performing, man. You're still touring. I looked on your website. You got a lot of shows, but the show we want to talk about is Fallsview Casino, man. That's going to be a rocking show.
Yeah, well, let's get a plug in for Fallsview, and I want to circle back real quick to Humber for a second and just tell you what an incredible course it was, how legendary it was. But Fallsview, this place this sets new standards for halls in casinos. It's just a remarkable hall, and we're really looking forward to playing it. And hats off to the Fallsview people for building that wonderful room. And the sound is incredible. From what I understand, I haven't seen a show there, but through all my friends that have played there and texts that have been associated with it, it's just an incredible room. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to sound great. We're going to bring it that night and leave it all on stage. So it's coming up in a few days. So I'm excited about that. And I try to remember, so going back to Humber.
Yeah.
We used to have some incredible people come in and give speeches and seminars. And one of the most incredible, just before he died, was the great Duke Ellington. And I came in late to your little auditorium there, and he was regaling us with stories. And he's a remarkable piano player. So he's not just a band leader and a composer. Like he's a virtuoso on that thing. And his hands just span a huge amount of the keys. I think a 13th he spans, and with his right hand and left hand. And he said, "Hey, young man, come over here." And this was Duke Ellington. And you can sit on the side of the piano stool over here. And I'm sitting there beside the great Duke Ellington, like watching him play. And I'm right there. It was, I get chills thinking of it. It's one of the few times that, I don't get crazy shook up and verklempt at meeting celebrities and some of my idols, but that was a big moment. And what really occurred to me was the warmth of the man, and his what a great entertainer he was, and the stories he was regaling with us, about Ella Fitzgerald and a bunch of other people, and Dizzy Gillespie and stuff. And I draw from those experiences with those kind of people that really spur me on, and that make me try to be better as an artist, communicating with people on stage, and as a storyteller and a communicator. And the warmth of people like Duke Ellington, Bruce Springsteen, totally different genres, of course. But some of these people have really inspired me and left a mark on me.
And you inspire so many people. And I'm glad you talked about the storytelling, because I feel like that is becoming a lost art. No disrespect to the artists that are out today, but I just find that the artists from 60s, 70s, 80s, and even some from 90s your music could tell these amazing, vivid stories, no matter what the vivid was for you, especially when we didn't have music videos.
Right.
Told great stories. Are we missing that, do you think?
I hesitate to say we are. I instinctively think that, yes, we are a little bit, but then as soon as you say that, then you're the curmudgeon who's down on new music. And I'm not. I love the Glorious Sons, and I hope Red hears about this. And I think there's some wonderful songs and stories being told in that. So there are artists out there, Nathaniel Ratelief. So I think it's one of the reasons country music has shone through is that it's guitar music, first and foremost. It is telling stories, and it is, tactile. It's actual people playing it. It's not, two or three guys up on stage running computers and spinning records. Which is an art in itself. I don't want to take anything away from those guys, but my heart kind of lies with the singer-songwriter, storyteller, where you can sit down at a piano or an acoustic guitar, and you can play a good song and play it all the way through. You don't need all the trappings of the equipment and the high-tech stuff and the virtual world. You can play a song on your guitar or on the piano, and like Duke did that day at the piano at Humber College, Duke Ellington, and tell those stories and regale people with those stories and play that one. And some of his stuff's fairly complex, Yeah. And he's sitting there and he's playing it on the piano, and so good songs, complex or simple, stand up when you just play them on acoustic and piano.
It kind of goes with what I wanted to talk about, because of course we're looking at 30 plus years for Mad World, but you also did crazy, and you also did something recently, Tom Cochrane Revisited.
Right.
Can you talk about the connection with that? Because of course I grew up with Mad World. So I know I know the experience of the phenomenon of that.
Right.
But Revisited is something a little different, though.
Right. I'm trying to remember. The Revisited was Mad Mad World, and that was so we did that 4 years ago. We toured
Yes.
that, and that was tremendous. And I think it was important to kind of, yeah, literally revisit those songs and kind of, I guess we re-recorded a bunch of stuff, and it was important to get out and kind of make that statement because of the anniversary of it, the 30-year anniversary of the record, and people responded. You know, they came out to see the show. Next year, the 40th anniversary of Neruda. So we'd like to get out and play some of those shows, because to me, it's still one of my favorite records that I composed and helped put together. Kenny played some brilliant stuff on it. And I think that record has really stood the test of time as well. But, you know, obviously it wasn't the same level of commercial success that Mad Mad World had, but it was, I think, an important record. And the great Neil Peart, God bless him, greatest drummer on the planet, and also brilliant songwriter. You know, once told me, he said, Tom, that's one of my favorite records, and favorite records definitely produced, you know, by a Canadian artist. So I kind of get choked up thinking about it, because I really respect those guys a lot. And Alex Lifeson, dear buddy, golf buddy as well.
Tell Alex I said hello the next time you see him. I know we're gonna have to wrap this up soon, but if I don't mention Life is a Highway, then we can't do this interview. How does it feel knowing that you wrote one of the all-time greatest songs, not just Canadian songs, but really one of the all-time greatest rock, pop, country, blues songs of all time?
Road songs. Yeah. I feel very privileged to have written it. It's just one of those songs that just, you know, keeps on ticking. It's got a life of its own, and it inspires people, you know, to get on stage and get that energy back. So many people say to me, don't you get tired of playing those songs? And I said, you know, and I defer to the great Mick Jagger, who said, why would I get tired of playing Satisfaction? You know, that it just lights up tens of thousands of people, and I get that energy back. And I'm a real believer in that, in energy and psychic energy, and the energy we get back from fellow human beings, positive and negative. And that song generates a lot of positive energy. So I feel really privileged to have written it, and that you guys out there again have breathed life into it and taken it to heart. It is, you know, for a moody son of a gun, which I am, you know, it's one of the happier songs out there ever written, happier hits. So it's nice to have that, to put a different emotional slant on things when you're maybe feeling a little down and stuff. The song always seems to diffuse that energy. You know, when I get a message from somebody that, you know, that song got them through some really tough times, or that song, you know, even if it's something as simple as I had a fight with my boss, you know, and it helped diffuse that situation, driving home, listening to that song, I forgot all about the negative stuff. And I think it's important, because songwriters in essence really are therapists. You know, we're therapists first and foremost for ourselves, and then hopefully it resonates with people out there that are listening to the song and that come to the shows.
Absolutely. And the one thing I always love is just before you play the harmonica, everybody waits for the oh, and we all do it together, and then we really get into it, man. It's a great song. Your music has always been amazing. You've been an amazing person, and I can say right now, thank you so much for letting me follow your journey with my platforms, my friend. I will always be forever grateful for that. Thank you so much.
And again, thank you for being out there and getting the word out on music and songwriting and storytelling and the whole bit. You know, I think it's important as well that we have this reciprocal relationship and you get the music out there. So thank you as well. And thank everybody out there for helping me, you know, have a wonderful career and get to do this. Like my dear dad said, if you do what you love and do your hobby for a living, then God's smiling on you. So I feel very blessed.